I'll give you an example for how my subconscious mind speaks to me in a very strange way. I was almost born out of wedlock, and back in the 60s, that would have been, in that small village I lived, would have been a complete and utter disaster for me and my future. So my grandparents forced my parents into marriage, for which my father wasn't ready yet, because he wanted to go to university, blah, blah. I have had a very strange, well, the way I met my husband was very bizarre. I had this premonition of him. I come to Ireland and all of a sudden it's like my soul bursts forth or some weird shit's happening. So in other words, I'm getting clear indication that I had a life in Ireland. Now, this is around 2017, 16 maybe. I have this urge to go to these burial sites of unwedded children and to put gifts there. So I have a local one here, and there's one at the border to the next county. And strangely enough, every time at that time I went across the border, and the burial site is just past that border. So every time I go past this border, my phone switches off, like there's no reception. Click. I come to the border. The graveyard is about, I don't know, 50 yards away from it, and my phone switches off. And at some point, it drives me literally to go there, and I buy some sweets, and I want to absolutely go into this graveyard, right? But there's cattle in there. So I go to the farm next door, and there's the farmer, obviously, with this machinery and stuff, and there's this old man, must have been in his late 80s, mid 80s, and I go over to him and I say, look, I've got this, I want to put this for the children there. And he looks at me, bless him, and he is like the sweetest thing ever. And he obviously sees something in me, that he himself shares that same grief over the lost children there and what happened. So he shows me how to get in, and he says, no, you're fine, you can go in there. And, you know, he looks out, is there a bull? Anyway, I end up going in there, and it's all cattle with young heifers, their babies, their calves. And they all come to me and surround me. It's like they're checking me out. Is this person safe to go in here, right? So I take my boots off and I stand in the grass, and eventually the old cow moves away and decides, yeah, I'm good to go, right? A few days later, my husband comes back from a trip in England, and again I have this urge, so I bought a bell, like a wind chime bell thing, for the other gravesite just around from my house. And we can't get in, and the gate is closed, and my husband just finally loses the plot and says, if you want to put that in there, you should be allowed to put that in there, and why are they locking this gate? So he dismantles the lock for the gate, right, so I can go in there and leave my chime. Now, I did that almost by compulsion. Did I do this because I was drawn to them because of the similarity of my fate? Was that some sort of a resonance on that level? Or did I have to experience being almost born out of wedlock and all the resulting consequences of the drama that ensued, because maybe I forced that upon some poor woman at some stage in my past life? Now, I sit here and I don't know. I honestly don't know. I just know I did that out of compulsion. And the very strange thing was I did that when my husband was gone, the first incident. He comes back with some newspapers, and in the newspapers there's this article, and he points this out to me, says, look at this. You just told me that story that you went in with the cows and they left you alone. Look, I just found this article in a British newspaper that talks about all the people that have accidents because they go into fields with cattle with their little suckling babies and how they get attacked. So that's significant. And most people, they either ignore that or find some sort of a rational explanation for it, or they think it's just happening by accident, or they don't even notice it. But that is my subconscious talking to me and giving me a clue